Thanksgiving is a holiday filled with tradition, time spent with family and friends, a moment to stop to reflect on the people and things that we're thankful for. And as people across the country prepare for the Thanksgiving holiday, the eyes of our nation also turn to Plymouth, America's hometown. Almost 400 years ago, 102 brave separatists sailed off to the New World in a wooden merchant vessel and landed on these shores. And one short year later, what we have come to call the first Thanksgiving took place, a gathering of Native people and English colonists. Today, people come from all over the country and all over the world to celebrate Thanksgiving in Plymouth and join in on the event sponsored by America's hometown Thanksgiving celebration. It's a weekend-long festival of history, community, heritage, and patriotism. Through concerts honoring our military and a parade chronicling the Pilgrim legacy, spectators leave with a sense of history and pride. Welcome to PACTV's coverage of America's hometown Thanksgiving parade. Whether you're watching us on television or the internet, live or over the Thanksgiving holiday, we hope you enjoy your time with us. Welcome, I'm Donna Rodriguez, your host for today. What we are about to see as everybody prepares on the waterfront is the opening ceremonies. This parade is really amazing. It's incredibly different than most parades that we see in our communities and on television. It really does chronicle our history. It starts back in the 1600s, 1620 when the Pilgrims arrived, and brings us to today. What you're going to see in the next hour through our opening ceremonies is we're going to start with Pilgrims walking up to the review stand. They're going to be lighting a candle in really memory of the Pilgrims coming and the famous quote from William Bradford that one candle lights 1,000. So we're going to start there. That's really where our history begins, and that's where our parade begins. As we move forward, you're going to be able to hear from some wonderful legislators from Plymouth as well as our state of Massachusetts, talking about what this holiday means to all of us. We have some wonderful surprises. You'll be seeing also Russell Williams, who is a classical pianist, Sheila Ray Charles, and yes, she is his daughter, and Sparrow Blue. We're going to have some music for you. They're going to be performing all the way up until we get to see the parade arrive at the waterfront. What you're seeing now is Coles Hill, which is a very famous area directly across from the waterfront in Plymouth. And as the parade begins and as the opening ceremonies begin, it starts to fill up with friends, families, and neighbors. We're told that this parade now is rated the #1 Thanksgiving parade by AOL Travel, and we estimate that 250,000 people arrive in Plymouth for this weekend to celebrate. So we thank you for joining us today. We hope you do enjoy our celebration. If you would like to find out more about America's hometown Thanksgiving celebration, visit usathanksgiving.com. If you're interested in finding out more about the replays in our local community or how you can see this in your community, visit pactv.org, PACTV.org. Again, I'm Donna Rodriguez. I'm your host for today. I'm very lucky that I'm going to be joined by our local representative, Matt Moratori, and historian and president of the Plymouth Rock Foundation, Paul Jaley, as soon as we finish our opening ceremonies. And I see on the waterfront that our Pilgrims and Paul Jaley are gathering there, preparing to walk up to light that candle. So we're going to send everything down to the waterfront. Enjoy the opening ceremonies. We'll see you soon.
America's Hometown Thanksgiving Celebration Committee would like to welcome you here to America's hometown, Plymouth, Massachusetts. And now to kick off the festivities, I'd like to introduce to you Heather Sievertson. She grew up in America's hometown, has been singing since her birth. She's sung at our opening ceremonies in the past. Please welcome, with a wonderful, warm America's hometown greeting, Heather Sievertson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Heather. And now I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Paul Jaley, Executive Director of the Plymouth Rock Foundation and a Mayflower descendant. He leads our pilgrim delegation from Plymouth Rock. The pilgrims represent those from Leiden congregation and others who came on the Mayflower. The candle lighting ceremony symbolizes the pilgrims' faith that brought them here. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Paul Jaley.
After the Pilgrims arrived here in 1620, several decades later, historians began to recognize that this small group that was never a majority, never very wealthy, and often a footnote in history, had a tremendous influence on what became the United States of America. Because of the enduring values they embraced, because of the convictions that they were unwilling to negotiate or give up, they became known as courageous, filled with perseverance. They had fortitude. They pioneered individual free enterprise here in the United States. They were individuals who were willing to work with others to produce peace. Though never perfect, and never would they have thought so, all of those accomplishments and their courage would never have taken place had it not been for their faith. Their faith was why they got on that boat. Their faith was why they continued to have hope, even when they were surrounded by despair, when half their numbers died that first winter. Bradford made it very clear that the key reason they came was that they would propagate and advance the gospel of the kingdom of Christ in these remote parts of the world, though they would be even as stepping stones unto others for the performing of so great a work. That's why we begin with honoring the faith of the pilgrims, and we let this candle burn throughout our ceremony today and the parade, recognizing that that one small candle, that faith, has inspired so many who have come behind them, and so many ideas that have become part of the United States of America. And as I begin now to quote that famous quote by William Bradford about one small candle, we today also recognize this, that that one small candle of hope and of faith, we now join with the people of France and Paris, standing with them in their time of grief after being attacked so recently. So let's think about this as we start today. Bradford said it this way: greater things have been produced by his hand that made all things of nothing and gives being to all things that are. And as one small candle may light 1,000, so the light here kindled hath shone unto many, yea, in some sort to our whole nation. Let the glorious name of Jehovah have all the praise. And now we light the candle that starts this celebration, also in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in France.
Ladies and gentlemen, next I'd like to introduce Ken Tavares, who has served Plymouth faithfully for many years as selectman. He also oversees Plymouth's 4th of July parade, and he now serves as president of Plymouth 400 in planning for the international anniversary of our America's hometown in 2020. Let's welcome Ken Tavares.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen, a warm, warm welcome to our residents and visitors alike to this very, very special day. The board and the town as a whole is indebted to Ollie DiMacedo, I call him our Kingston neighbor and honorary citizen, for the year of planning that he and his volunteers put into this wonderful day. Let us begin a week of Thanksgiving and happiness. We have much, much to be thankful for, and we know that the roots of our country were put down here in Plymouth, Massachusetts, in this harbor. Again, on behalf of the town, welcome and enjoy this beautiful day.
Thank you, Ken. And next, ladies and gentlemen, Vinny has served America's hometown and beyond as a state representative for more than 16 years, and now he serves us as state senator. Vinny's tireless support for tourism as well as the legacy of the Pilgrims now and through 2020 is inspiring. Ladies and gentlemen, our Senator, Vinny DiMacedo.
Thank you, except for the fact that the congressman is going to be speaking before me, so I'm going to take the opportunity to introduce our Congressman, Bill Keating. So let's hear it for Congressman Bill Keating. Thank you, and then you can turn it over to me.
Well, thank you, Vinny. This is a DiMacedo Day, and we're grateful for your work. We're grateful for Ollie's work making today such a success. All across America this week, we'll be celebrating Thanksgiving, yet we'll know that the center of that celebration is right here in Plymouth, and I want to wish you, on behalf of my wife and myself, a happy Thanksgiving as you enjoy the time with your families. And I hope during that time, as we're at home or with family members elsewhere, gather around a table, that we keep in our thoughts and prayers those that are serving us across the world in our armed services, those that are in Iraq, those that are in Afghanistan, still in troubled places, and in so many places of the world. They will not be home for their Thanksgiving, but let us all in our thoughts and prayers let them know they are in our home each and every day, and we give thanks to their service. Thank you. And now, a colleague and friend, and someone who served this community, this region so well, Vinny DiMacedo.
Thank you. Thank you, Congressman. I appreciate it. Thank you for all you do. I am so excited to be here today as we celebrate Thanksgiving in Massachusetts with this parade. And it is so exciting to see so many people here and what we have going on here. We all know the story, and Ken alluded to this, that this is where it all began. This is where America started. And that keeping that alive is such an important thing. And I have the privilege today to introduce the executive director, the individual that has so been inspired by the story of the Pilgrims and what that meant to this nation, and as an immigrant himself, the opportunities that have been given to him because of this great nation. And he's the one who has worked so hard to make sure that this parade is a success each and every year for 17 years. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story because he happens to be my brother as well. So, when he was about 13 years old, we used to live in a neighborhood, and our backyard had a little hill like this. And I say this just to show you how creative he was. We had this hill, and he decided he was going to build a hang glider. He was about 13 years old, and he took this all this wood, he set it up. And then my mother was a seamstress, and she's a wonderful sewer, and she had this really beautiful material that was imported from Portugal that she'd been saving. And he decided he was going to make the hang glider out of that material. And He set it up, and it wasn't enough, though. It wasn't stiff enough, so he decided to put varnish all over the material so that it would be stiff, so then when he went off the hill, he could actually fly down the whole way. Now, he thought it was a great idea. My mother didn't. But it was, I joke like that, but I tell you that just in the creativity of my brother since he was a child, he always thought bigger and always thought, I can do this, I can make something better. And that is what has become this Thanksgiving Day Parade. Each and every year he tries, all volunteer, to try to make this thing a success. And that's why I'm so proud of my brother, Ollie DiMacedo, the Executive Director of America's Hometown Thanksgiving. Thank you very much, and let's hear it for Ollie.
Thanks, brother. Love you. Thank you so much. He makes it sound like I do all this. It's all the people, all the volunteers. People work tirelessly. I am really, really honored and proud to have such wonderful people around me to make this thing successful. Not to mention all of those of you that are around here that have been sponsors, not only in so many ways, and for so long you've believed in us, and I can't thank you enough. My daughter, come here, Erin. Today, though, marks a wonderful day for me. It's the first time, I think, that my whole entire family here, my son is here from Colorado, David, I don't know where he's at, he's here, right there. My son, my wife, my youngest daughter's on the Patriots float. So it's a great day for me to be here with my family. And that's exactly what Thanksgiving represents, is all of us coming together, doing all the things that are more important than anything else that we can endeavor in our lives, is to have our families who care for us and love us. They're always there. So I am honored to be able to serve this community in the way best that I know how, and what God has given me for talents to serve this great community, but more importantly, to serve this great country, what I love so much. And this flag means so much to me, and we need to understand that we have to stand strong, we have to fight strong, and we have to encourage and believe in one another to do all the things that people say that are possible for us here in this great land, America. Enjoy the parade and have a great Thanksgiving. God bless.
Russell Williams, ladies and gentlemen.
I think some of y'all might know this one. I sing for Georgia, Georgia, yeah, yeah. The whole day through. Just an old sweet song, well, keeps Georgia on my mind. Well, see, hey, other arms, y'all, they reach out to me. Yes, they do. Other eyes smile. See, they smile so tenderly, but still in the little bitty dreams I see, the road leads back. Oh, it leads back to you. I say, Plymouth, Plymouth, a song for you. Hey, well, right now, just an old sweet, it's such a sweet, sweet song that keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia's in my heart, Georgia's in my soul. Hey, just an old sweet, it's such a sweet, sweet song that keeps Georgia and Jesus. He's at the front of my mind. Georgia's in my heart, Georgia's in my soul. Hey, that's right. Yes, indeed. Thank you, thank you. This last song, I'm hoping that I can get everyone to sing with me. And we just want to hope and pray for God to bless America. And it goes like this. Oh, beautiful, for heroes proved in I said and liberated strife. Who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. I'm talking about America, sweet America. May God thy gold, may he refine, and to all success let it be nobleness, yes, yes, and every gain divine. And now we used to sing it like this when I was in school. Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies. Y'all sing it with me. For amber waves of grain, for purple mountains above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. And I say, America, America. God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Hey, hey.
Sheila Ray Charles.
From sea to shining sea. God bless y'all. God keep y'all.
Sheila Ray, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, we're gonna play an original song we wrote now. It's called "Everybody's Going to Texas," and it was inspired by last winter. Who was here last winter when it snowed a lot? Okay, so that snow inspired this song. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody's gone to Texas, even my baby. We'll be sipping Red Bull cider to chase the blues away. But I'll be sitting here in the cold New England snow, wishing I was with him down in El Paso. And everybody gone to Texas while I wish the snow would melt. But I'm still here, growing colder and hoping my baby's not loving someone else. As I fill up my wood stove and burn a fire bright, I'm thinking about my baby, wondering who he's with tonight. When he gets home, I love him just like it's always been. But he's sipping Red Bull cider down in Galveston, and everybody's going to Texas while I wish the snow would melt. But I'm still here, growing colder and hoping my baby's not loving someone else. My bed's so big and empty now that he's left home. I'm listening to Elvis and drinking all alone. I'm hoping and I'm praying that I haven't lost him. But he's sipping Red Bull cider down in sunny Austin, and everybody gone to Texas while I wish the snow would melt. But I'm still here, growing colder and hoping my baby's not loving someone else. And hoping my baby's not loving someone else. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give you a quick heads up that we've got the Rotary coming through as they do every year. And this year they're looking for a band a year. Everything they collect along the parade route goes directly to the parade. So be generous, open up and meet your Rotary members as they come by. Thank you, Rotary.
Welcome back to PACTV's coverage of America's Hometown Thanksgiving Parade. We hope you've been enjoying everything that's been happening on the waterfront. The opening ceremonies were fantastic, and the parade is just about to arrive. I'd like to introduce my co-hosts for our coverage of today's parade. To my left is the Executive Director of the Plymouth Rock Foundation, Paul Jaley, who you saw earlier lighting the candle for us.
Right, great. Good to be here again.
We're glad you were able to make it up from the waterfront to join us, and we're really looking forward to the parade. It's really so many exciting new things in the parade this year. And to your left, I would like to introduce Matt Moratori, who is our state representative for the 1st Plymouth District. Correct, Matt?
Correct, yeah.
And it's your first time joining us here.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you.
Great.
Well, where we're looking right now, we can see Coles Hill filling up, and all along Port Street and Main Street in downtown Plymouth, it is filled with people excited to see this parade. And this year, we estimate there'll be 250,000 people down on the waterfront watching the parade and winding all along the streets of Plymouth. So if you are not here with us watching the parade today, we hope you're able to join us in replays. If you'd like to find out when you can see it, please visit PACTV.org, and we'd be happy to provide you with all of the information. Now, Paul, can you tell us a little bit about today's theme for this year?
Sure. The theme this year is America the Beautiful. And when we chose this theme of America the Beautiful, our goal was to take that poem by Catherine Lee Bates and begin to take phrases out of that poem and then be able to put it on the floats. So from sea to shining sea, you're going to see that. You're going to also recognize that we're taking areas where we have a thematic float honoring the women and the military, and we're going to take some of those aspects of the phrases all the way through, because it's the 100th anniversary of the national parks. And so we're recognizing the beauty of America, but externally and also internally with those key ideas. So it's going to be exciting.
And all of the floats, if folks are watching us for the first time this year, all of those floats are made by volunteers and folks locally.
Craftsmen work for weeks on these floats, and they cut down cars, take off the tops, and then build a base, and then they begin to put it in. In fact, we give people a little tour so they can see what's inside the float, because they can't see the driver. It's literally floating by, and most people are unaware of that. The first parades in history had that, where the scenes, in an illiterate population, the scenes floated by them visually, but it was always chronological. So we built our parade that way too.
And what people are going to see watching the parade today is they're going to be able to see, starting from the 1600s through to today, a chronological view of the history of our country.
That's correct. And that's what's so exciting, because we think America is such a great country. We have so much to be thankful for.
And we see the parade arriving. We just saw the Rotary Club, and Matt, you as a member of the Rotary are frequently out there in the parade route collecting donations to help to support this wonderful
this is
group.
my first year not being in this. It's kind of, I've never seen the opening. I was saying that to Paul, I've never seen the opening, so it's great to see that. But it's great to see Rotary out there collecting money. Last year they collected $7,500. They're hoping to exceed that this year.
Exactly.
And the Plymouth Rock Foundation, which is the sponsor for this parade and all of the events, is a nonprofit organization. America's Hometown is a nonprofit. So we know that everybody appreciates the support that you receive year-round to make this amazing event happen and to bring it to all of us. I said earlier in our opening that this parade actually has been rated by AOL Travel as the #1 Thanksgiving parade in the country. It's also rated as one of the top tourist attractions across the country year-round.
And there's been more and more magazines picking that theme up, and so more and more people keep coming. And even trying to get here to the studio from the waterfront, I mean, people have been walking half hour to an hour just to get a glimpse of the parade. So.
And we're hoping that folks who are watching at home are able to enjoy this. Now let's see who is coming down the street right now. It looks like this is the Boston Gaelic Column Pipes and Drums.
Right, we've had a couple of banners opening up the parade, but here the Gaelic Column was formed in 1992, and this is a pipe and drum band. And the thing is, we have to recognize about this, you're going to see a lot of this. Those two instruments, some kind of pipe with tunes and drums for discipline, goes back into antiquity as a major part of military honoring of liberty. And so you're going to see this quite a bit. And of course, we see the Boston Gaelic pipes and drums, and we see their banner here coming down the street.
And they're an independent organization of Boston police officers and law enforcement, correct?
That's right, absolutely. And you can see here, of course, the traditional bagpipes and the drums. Let's listen.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the Boston Gaelic Column Pipes and Drums.
I do enjoy watching all of the time. And look what we have coming up next. This is also a huge crowd favorite for 7 years now. The folks from the Eye Opener team from WCVB Channel 5 have been the parade marshals, most particularly everybody's beloved Randy Price.
They are great. They are great to this community. We were able to talk with Randy and the team last night, and they're so gracious in coming to town and working with us on this and promoting it. It's just wonderful to have them here.
And I think they really look forward to it
They
also.
really do. They really enjoy coming here.
Exactly. And of course, the float they're on is the opening History on Parade. It's an idea of a float with a big book and people coming out of the book. And that's what we want people to realize. We're taking them out of the history book, putting them on the streets so they can see history come alive.
And this year, you have a change with some of the folks who are in the history books. Is that correct?
That's right. In fact, we have a female pilgrim, and then we also colonial representing Molly Pitcher and and look at all the women veterans on that book that have come out of the books of pages to honor the women in the military.
And the entire weekend leading up to Thanksgiving through America's Hometown Thanksgiving celebration is a huge part is honoring our service people.
That's correct. And that's something we can never do too often. We can always do that and help.
And I think in just a moment, we're going to be hearing from folks down on the waterfront as our parade marshals step off the float to join everybody at the review stand. I believe Randy is going to have a few words for us.
I think so.
Hey everybody, how are you? Come on, let's get on out there. What a great parade. This is, I lost track of it. I think it's like my 9th year. And I have to tell you, because, I nearly poked your eye. So sorry, Cindy, I'll make it up to you. Because you know what? You really came through with some phenomenal weather, so like, nobody has to complain with you.
I came to see what he'd do if the weather was bad.
Anyway, we had a great time, did we not? The crowd probably was better than ever this year, and it was phenomenal.
Better than ever. So good to see all of you out here. Cold? No, of course not. You look great.
Thank you all. You guys are great. It's wonderful to be here in America's hometown once again.
And look at that hill. Look at how many people are there. This is so exciting. Every year, Randy and his crowd gets everybody excited and everybody ready for the parade to come down the street.
Yes, and it's really excellent because once they do that, they're going to, now I'll watch on Monday morning.
Right. And it's going to move incredibly quickly from here on in. We talk about themes for this parade. Celebration of our history, obviously. But also patriotism, talking about honoring our military. But volunteerism is another huge thread to this entire organization and all the work that you do to bring this event to everybody.
Exactly. You know, volunteerism built America. And when you look back at the early days of our republic, volunteers did just about everything. You know, people in the community, they just went out a little bit over and above, and this is what causes communities to come together. And you can see it. And Matt, you've served a lot in local areas, and you see when people go out of their way to help people, doesn't it change the complete
It's wonderful, and I actually was part of that Man of Memphis Youth Center drive, and been working with them for a year and a half now for the youth of this community. They really need a place to go after school, and the community has stepped up. Sold over 1,200 tickets. You know, best Chevrolet, Dodge, Jeep, Ram of Plymouth came and gave it a Jeep to raffle off, and they raised over $60,000. It's going to be great to see how these kids go.
Absolutely. And thank you to the folks of the Eye Opener team for being here, for getting everybody excited and ready to go. It wasn't enough that we had an amazing opening ceremonies, but now they've got everybody on their feet and ready to see history as it walks down.
The banner that came right behind that whole float was the Plymouth Industrial Development Corporation. They have been tremendous in helping us, and especially allowing us to house our floats, build them, and everything. And then, of course, the banner following that is Plymouth Rock Foundation, and I think I know a little bit about that.
You think a little bit?
As America gives thanks through the years, and of course we've already talked about how the parade is patterned chronologically after parades in the Middle Ages. The Plymouth Rock Foundation was established in 1970 by the late John Talcott for the purpose of preserving the Pilgrim story, and that is something that we have wanted to do, as well as the history of America that follows that. I think we're coming up now onto
we get the classic Cavaliers.
Yes.
First drum bugle, carrying on the tradition of the Green Machine. Let us welcome our newest addition to America's hometown family, the Classic Cavaliers. Born from a 2008 reunion for their 60th anniversary, the Classic Cavaliers hail from Chicago, and like many alumni drum and bugle corps, they sport young and old to bring us the patriotic music of World War II era and beyond.
So the Cavaliers are from Chicago, and it's amazing because the Drum and Bugle Corps, they come from around the country to join in on this parade. They're getting ready, and I think they're going to, since they're new to the parade, they're one of the few bands that have been given permission to stop and perform.
Because these
for us.
corps, if they keep stopping, we'll have a real problem getting through the parade. But they're the newest, and we're going to want them to invite them back, I'm sure.
Let's go take a listen. That was an incredible first performance.
Oh yes, very good. And boy, I tell you, when you're right there, the volume is something that they really pride themselves in.
And I have to say, I wish every band could stop. It might be a long parade,
Yes.
but I think the hill would stay just as crowded as it is
especially
right
in this
now.
kind of weather. Very well.
Wow. We may have an encore or a thank you from the Cavaliers.
Senior reunion. Next, we'd like to thank Mutual Bank, once again of New England, for sponsoring the Protection Pavilion We Chew Post.
Have a big following now.
Replicate the coastal dwellings of the early Waterloo style, created with a wide street, sheets of glass, and a large open
Walking through. These are folks that organizations and businesses locally that have helped to sponsor career activities, as well as to be able to sponsor specific floats or specific bands to be able to bring them here to us, and for all of us to be able to enjoy. What we're seeing now is really a representation of how Plymouth was born of two cultures, the Wampanoag people and the colonists. And here we're seeing a float that is a Patuxet Pavilion Wetu. And a Wetu was actually a replication of the original coastal dwelling of many early Wampanoag people. And they would build these dwellings temporarily to be able to support them during growing season. As part of the parade and part of the celebrations here for folks who are local, they also have a pavilion where visitors can go and find out more about the Wampanoag people's history. But again, our country really was born of two cultures. And the folks who are joining us here for the pavilion also come from Plymouth Plantation, which is a living history museum that celebrates those two cultures.
Exactly, right. And we have following them the Double B Ranch Equestrians, and here the Borelli family, which I know tremendous, and they're bringing these Spanish horses of the 1500s, the Spanish horsemen called vaqueros, gentle, thoughtful training techniques. And again, this is the 1500s, so see, we're in Division I.
Yes.
Because we're in the 1500s, and you can see the style, the horses, and then we keep on moving on.
I want to know if I can bring that little one home.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
I've had that little one at the nursing home before, and they go to see the patients in the nursing home.
Right.
It's wonderful.
Yeah,
It's wonderful how they light up.
I'll have to go visit.
Yeah.
And behind them we have the Cabbie Shack, and they've been a tremendous sponsor, really to help us. And of course they are tremendously involved in community service as well. And so Cabbie Shack, this restaurant right here on the waterfront, tremendous. And I think behind that is this tremendous float now.
Here's the replica of the Mayflower 2. It's 1/20th of the size of the actual one. It's really the gem of the parade.
It sure is. And it's really a symbol of Plymouth.
It's a symbol of unity between the two nations. I've been fortunate enough to go to Plymouth, UK on a couple of occasions and see what they're doing for the 2020 celebration, the commemorations coming up, and see the steps of where the Mayflower actually stepped off.
Yeah, I've
where
been there.
it left. It's amazing.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And this float really is a true representation of the quality of the floats that are a part of this parade. And as this Mayflower goes wandering by the Mayflower 2 on the waterfront, it's incredible to see how it is an exact replica.
No question. And the craftsmanship of what went into building that is pretty amazing as well.
It's really the spirit of Thanksgiving.
Yes, and of course the pilgrims are marching around it and walking around it. Separatists, they separated from that church and then came here to America. And it's followed, of course, by the new Plymouth Guard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when the Pilgrims first arrived in the New World, every man was considered a soldier as well. And the new Plymouth Guard is a group of historical reenactors who portray the militia of Plymouth County as it was established in 1621. They really try to be very careful to make sure that they are historically accurate in their demonstrations of military practices. And I think we're going to be seeing one of their demonstrations right now at the review stand. Everything from their clothing to their armor to their weapons is historically accurate.
Advance your pike!
Yeah, those long pikes that you see there, you'd think, my gosh, how could that possibly be very practical? But they were even showing how that was something extremely practical in the way they would fight at that time period. So again, defense of liberty, fighting for freedom if they had to defend themselves right from the very beginning.
And these reenactors truly are historians. They put so much time and effort into ensuring that they are true to the history of the people that they're representing.
Exactly.
And again, this is the new Plymouth Guard, and they were the original militia of Plymouth County, established in 1621. I believe right behind them, however, we're seeing arrive at the review stand right now Blackwell's Regiment of Foot, and they are a new reenactment unit to this parade. They are the 3rd Company, Sir Thomas Blackwell's Regiment of Foot. They come to us from the colony of Connecticut, and they portray members of a Royalist infantry regiment of the English Civil War about the time of 1643.
You know, right following them is the Salem Train Band, and you see, Plymouth was founded in 1620, but Salem was founded in 1626. And just like Plymouth, every man was a soldier. And in Salem, they had to have their own militia as well. And they would form this, and this became the root of the National Guard in the United States. Where Salem, based on that common, if anybody goes to Salem today, you see that big green common right across from the Roger Conan statue, the founder of Salem, and you'll see that. So the Salem Train Band, again, another reenacting unit, very, very accurate, and we might say that's in the historic village. They're all in camp there. and people can go see
For
them.
people who are in the Plymouth
That's
area
right.
watching this live, please take a look at usathanksgiving.com because you can see all of the events that are taking place the weekend before Thanksgiving. So you can go down to the encampment and see a lot of these reenactors who are really helping to bring our history alive throughout the weekend.
Yes, exactly. I think we have some antique, very antique cars.
Yes, we
coming
do.
through.
These are always a favorite of people.
Oh,
I think,
they
seeing
are.
this.
They are. And I believe following them is the MBTA.
And so this is the MBTA Transit Police Honor Guard. It's the original Boston MBA Transit Police Department. It was comprised of 35 officers, and today it has grown to be the 5th largest police department in the state of Massachusetts. The Honor Guard is representing men and women of the department and has 15 dedicated members and 14 patrol officers. And right behind them, I
There they are, Miss
believe,
Gabby and Lisa.
we have another celebration. This is the Hobby Knoll carriage. And last year, Ollie, the parade director, started a Director's Citizens Award.
Exactly.
That
For
he
people
gives
that
each
really
year.
have gone over and above the call of duty in serving their community, and boy, isn't that true?
Absolutely, yeah. They are great people.
And so this year's recipients are Cabby and Lisa Brinney, who are the owners of Cabby Shack, who we mentioned earlier are not only one of the sponsors of this parade, but incredibly giving to this entire community. I believe we're going to be able to watch the presentation of the Outstanding Citizen Award, and you see the horses agree with me of how wonderful these folks are in our
Don't
community as
forget
they
to
nod
visit
their
the
heads.
Cabby Shack.
Yes.
Next is Entergy.
And you know,
Returns again as one of our
when we
main
continue on these,
sponsors this
again,
year.
say something about these sponsors. You know what I mean? Every banner, you know what I mean, is significant because it means somebody is donating something, going out of their way, sacrificing, and I think the Energy banner is right behind that copy.
I have to say personally, sitting here at this table with both of you, that I've been involved in this parade, either on the waterfront running a camera or as one of the hosts for this parade since 2001. And it has been amazing over 14 years to be able to watch it grow, to be able, and to see it become a national celebration, but at the same time realize how local it truly is, how it's a community of people pulling together to present this to our entire country.
No question. And of course, that's where a lot of these Entergy is a big sponsor. But now here's one of the favorite drum and bugle corps.
22 years and still growing strong. The Hawthorne Caballeros, they're an alumni corps. They are incredible, and they are definitely one of the parade favorites. They come to us from Hawthorne, New Jersey, and they really honor the tradition of the Caballero sound. I hope that they're going to be performing for us as they come down the
Well,
street.
at least walking by performing at the same time, possibly. Who knows?
You can hear the audience from here, everybody excited to see the Caballeros. Again, they truly are an audience fan favorite each and every year.
Right.
I think they're getting ready to perform for us now.
People need to really see when they watch these performances, and of course you have a drum and bugle corps reunion concert as well. The discipline that goes in, the practice, the hours of practice, again, tremendous.
And they love the half for doing it.
Oh yeah.
I think we're going to be treated with a quick listen to the Caballeros. love about these bands is they are gorgeous, not just the way they sound, but the way they look. Being able to watch the precision and the work that obviously has gone into what they do. Now we're going to get to hear.
Hawthorne Caballeros,
yes.
And you know, I was interested when the first time I really got to know drum and bugle corps music and study its history, I realized it's not to be called a band. They call it a corps. Because remember, it comes out of the military. It comes out of the idea of patriotism, World War II era, and really sparking that patriotism. And so I was corrected.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
I've learned so much working with you over the years, Paul.
Most of what I've learned is by mistake, you know.
It was interesting to hear them play, I think it was Jingle Bells they played earlier. And the weather's been so gorgeous that it's hard to believe that it's the holidays coming up. But we get Thanksgiving coming up.
Yes, you would not believe by looking at the wardrobes of people on the waterfront that we're watching a parade in New England in November. Another encore. Fan favorite, the Hawthorne Caballeros, walking down the streets of Plymouth once more.
Exactly. Look at that shot
Look at that
with
shot,
the flag, and people have come to know that's the symbol.
As we've said, the beauty of the imagery as well as their performance is always such a joy.
Exactly.
Again, thank you to our friends from New Jersey.
They come such a long distance, they don't want to leave. Now, that's what we want, though. People come to America's hometown and not want to leave.
Right.
That's the way it is.
Can you blame them?
No, you can't. Not on a day like today, celebrating Thanksgiving. What a better time for that. And
exactly.
That's exciting. I remember a comment I received from someone, I don't know who it was, along the waterfront. We had just finished a beautiful parade, and remarking what you had said, Donna, about bringing the community together, and Matt, what you thought. They came up and said, you know what? This event turns the community into a living room. I thought, you know, that's really true. We're all one family. We're all one. You see local businesses being honored. You see, that happening, and I think a little bit as it continues to go on, we recognize that we're getting more and more recognition. Like the Plymouth Magazine, that originally South Shore Living, that put this giant spread about the celebration this year. The place to be for Thanksgiving. See, the more and more of these major magazines start doing this, we're going to deal with parking.
We're working on it, Paul. We're working on it. No pressure here.
We got a major challenge.
PACTV's community news program, PCN, also featured America's Hometown Thanksgiving Parade in its weekly episode this week and dedicated the entire show to giving viewers a chance to take a look behind the scenes at what all of these groups do to prepare for their performance today.
Amazing. And here's another float that we have on the first Thanksgiving. And of course, this is really the staple float, so to speak. Here we have an original hut looking like some of the ones built in Plymouth Plantation. And we had pilgrims and natives that came together for a 3-day feast with entertainment. With, I have to say, historically, there was recreation and sporting events at Thanksgiving. You know what I mean?
Yes. That first celebration came after a very, very challenging first year.
And then they had a peace treaty that lasted over 50 years. A lot of positive things. A lot of challenges when two cultures come together, but a lot of positive things came out of that first Thanksgiving. Patterned from the Pilgrims' perspective, probably after the Feast of Tabernacles from the Old Testament. They were so biblically literate. But look at the detail on that float, that very pot, the kind they would have had at that time period. And again, tremendous to see this. And of course, walking around that are pilgrims, but these aren't pilgrims here.
We are heading into the 1700s in Division 2.
Yeah, this is Division 2. Matt, I think this is the ancient
honorable. Yeah. My first boss was an ancient honorable, along with a guy named Ernie Montilio, and I got to know them when I was a young kid, and they are a fantastic group. They're the third oldest chartered military organization in the world. The company boasts one of the finest military museums in the United States, and it's on the 4th floor of Faneuil Hall. You ever want to go see it? It's free of charge.
Yeah, and the thing is that most people do not avail themselves of those kinds of museums that are in Boston. And they really should. Someone had told me, gee, isn't Boston a tremendous place to visit? I would say absolutely. But if you love history, you've got your fill.
All of Massachusetts and New England.
Yes.
As we've talked about heading to the 400th celebration for Plymouth, but we're truly getting ready to celebrate the 400th birthday of so many of our communities across the state.
Right.
Plymouth is kicking it off.
That's right.
And is this ancient honorable still? Or do we have His Majesty's First Regiment?
I think this is ancient honorable.
This is ancient
and
honorable,
right behind
Right behind it's coming up.
Look at those red coats. Do you remember that from your history?
I
Those are
do.
red coats. And here come the
Here come the
His
red
Majesty's First Regiment Foot.
Learning my history from you and relearning it through my 4th grader right now. So this we have coming down the street right now is His Majesty's First Regiment Foot Guard. And this is a new unit that portrays the British regiment as they were from 1776 to 1783 during the Revolutionary time period. They actually are a recreated British regiment of the American War for Independence, and they strive to be as authentic as possible as all of our recreators who you see walking down the street, from their uniform, their dress, their equipment, weapons, everything, and their precision drill.
Exactly. And
This really is a passion and a love for history that we see with all of the folks coming down the street.
And we need to know our British heritage.
Yes, we do.
So it's very good.
Ah.
And we have a mascot here. Doubles.
We have a local friend from the Plymouth Pilgrims baseball
Yes,
team.
and of course, that Plymouth Pilgrims baseball team was one we've had the whole team in previous parades. But I think we're going over to Plymouth High School North and South Band. Here's another illustration of a community coming together. Both high schools joined together with the Plymouth High School bands, and they've just received a huge award and honor, the New England Scholastic Band Association Championship. Let's listen as they come by. Another show of unity with Plymouth. And Matt, I think following behind them is Plymouth 400.
You got it. In 2020, as I stated earlier, America will commemorate the 400th anniversary of the hometown of Plymouth, Mass. The 400th will highlight the American story of challenge, perseverance, and Thanksgiving that began with the 1620 landing of the Pilgrims and their relationship with the Wampanoag people.
And of course, Plymouth 400 is sponsoring this float that has 2 lighthouses on it.
It's amazing. Look at the work
And that's, of course, the lighthouse where in England, and then Plymouth, England.
Plymouth,
and you were
England,
there.
yes, I was there twice.
And what people might not realize is it really has become a celebration between England and Plymouth, Massachusetts. And
You're right.
they're
It's
having an
something we talk
ongoing
about
celebration.
the State House a lot. This is not about Plymouth. It's about not about just the Commonwealth, but it's about a national celebration and an international celebration, commemoration. And people are understanding that now.
Exactly. And, of course, those two lighthouses symbolizing those two towns and two cities and communicating with them, they're preparing for it also.
They are very much prepared and waiting for this.
Being followed by the Rehoboth Minutemen. They are the 13th Continental Regiment. They were originally chartered in 1774 as a town militia unit, and they were dispatched to the Roxbury and Duxbury area of Boston in 1774. They fought at the Battle of New York, the Battle of Trenton, and the Battle of Princeton. And this is their first time joining us at America's Hometown Thanksgiving Parade. We'd like to welcome the Rehoboth Minutemen.
Directly behind them is the Ocean Spray Company. We thank them for their continued
And they are being followed, I believe, by the Watertown Provincial Guard. The Watertown Company is a Revolutionary War reenactment group. Formed by local area members, they modeled themselves after the Guards assigned to protect General Washington after his acceptance of the command of the United States Colonial Army at Cambridge, Massachusetts.
We have some actual pirates of the New England coast as well. People are unfamiliar with the fact that we had pirates off the coast.
I was going to say.
And also of Ocean Spray, of course, mentioning them, that they've been a tremendous support. And I think we're actually coming up now to another drum and bugle corps. Wow, this is moving quickly.
This is the Crusaders Senior Drum and Bugle Corps. It's under the competent and dynamic Mr. LaSalva. The hometown boys always bring us a fun-filled show. The Dynamic Guard is one of the best. Every drum corps fan loves their commitment to the tradition and ability to rouse their audience. Happy 25th and keep the Crusaders going.
Next, we have the Old Colony Club. It's the oldest.
Following the Crusaders here, we have the Old Colony Club.
And they're the oldest men's club in the Western Hemisphere. They were established in 1769, and their first meeting, I'm sure you knew this, Paul, was held on December 22nd of the same year.
You were there.
Were you?
I say that, yeah.
1769, you look lovely for your age, sir.
Yes, and of course I'm a member of the Old Colony Club, so when we celebrate the arrival there of the Pilgrims and of course whatnot it's early in the morning in December.
And they are tipping their hats to all of our good visitors at the review stand right now. This club also, in addition to being so committed to the community, they really started Old Colony Day, which now is known as Forefathers Day.
Exactly right.
So a celebration of our country.
People don't realize the Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock December 11th, but with the change of calendar, it's now celebrated December 21. But because they made that mistake, it's December 21 and 22. First holiday, 2 days.
Well, you know, they know how to celebrate clearly.
Yes, that's good.
And here we have another one of our historic floats.
Yes, and I think we have also the Hannaford Supermarkets sponsoring this, and Hannaford employees around this giant cornucopia. It's a Greek symbol of plenty. And of course, when you really think about it, regardless of what the problems we have in America, we are still the land of plenty.
Absolutely.
And we have so much to be thankful for. It's so much to give thanks to God for all the blessings we have. And that's really what Thanksgiving is all about.
Absolutely.
And so when you see that giant cornucopia come down the street, think of those things.
Reminds us to be thankful.
That's right.
Here's the Highland Light Scottish Band. The Highland Light Scottish Band is Cape Cod's oldest pipe band, formed in 1973. It's been thrilling audiences for 40 years. The band contains members of all over the Cape Cod and southeastern Mass. Let's take a listen.
Is our tribute to France and crown our Goodwood Brotherhood. We stand with you, France, our oldest ally.
And as we can hear them saying on the waterfront now, they are being followed by a very emotional tribute to our friends in France. And Following the recent attacks on innocent civilians in Paris, it clearly has left the world and all of our communities in shock. So I'd like to thank America's Hometown for taking the opportunity to be able to say that in the spirit of Thanksgiving for our blessings, we really do stand in solidarity.
Exactly. And that was done very quickly to be able to get into the parade. The Hayman Snowshoemen, 1675 to 1783, these are individuals who were actually prepared to go with snowshoes into battle at a minute's notice, kind of like the Minutemen in winter. And they did. In fact, in the early 1700s, they went up to the fort in Louisburg and defeated, amazingly, miraculously. It got the British pretty mad, but and the French rather. And of course, they actually were able to take that fort back, so tremendously. I think we're going to CJ's.
These are CJ's Ranch and Barnstable Barn Burners, yeah. This is the team of cowboys and cowgirls who intend on preserving the spirit of the American cowboy. They're ambassadors of goodwill, the Barnstable Barn Burners, precision, squash. That's a mouthful to say. Drill team from Cape Cod brings cheers from the crowds. So that's great to come over here.
And I believe they are being followed. Is this Otto from Plymouth Rock
Yes,
Insurance?
that's right.
Another
This is
one
Otto, yes.
another one of our sponsors. We'd like to thank them and all of our sponsors, including Plymouth Rehab and the Radius Center, who is following them, for everything that they do to bring this parade and this celebration home for all of us. And here we go. I believe they have sponsored our Turkey in the Wild float, always a fan favorite. One of the few floats that comes out to us every year to really talk about the first Thanksgiving, celebrating our Thanksgiving. For folks who aren't in this area, they may not realize that there are still wild turkeys everywhere.
They are, and there were wild turkeys then. They could run 25 miles an hour. You had to really be able to catch those.
It's interesting, though, I've seen them disappear recently.
Yes.
I haven't seen the wild turkeys around.
Right, and the
Always
free men
right
of the sea,
before
of course,
Thanksgiving.
are here more pirates. The free men of the sea were pirates, and there was a crew that, and this particular unit they try to reenact the pirates, their mission, their goals, which weren't always that great. But the point is that they were a part of our history, a very meaningful part. They have a museum, artifacts, they have period weapons, demonstrations, encampments, sailing. I mean, what grabs the attention of a young child more than pirates? And so here, the Freemen of the Sea, they're very regular too in our parade.
They are, and they enjoy really playing with the audience. They're a little naughty as they're running down the street, and they are lots of fun. So again, another fan favorite, the Freeman of the Sea. I'm amazed at how quickly this is all moving along, but I say that every single year. This parade literally flies down our street.
Here we have some Model T cars. I don't know if you remember driving these, Matt, when you were young. But
no, that was I had the horse and buggy.
Oh, you had the horse and buggy. Okay. No, it's very good to do this. In fact, they put some of the older cars in the beginning, but again, this is something. For History on Parade, you need this. And they take such pride in how they take care of those cars.
I was going to say they're always just stunningly well cared for and maintained. It's incredible that they're able to maintain this history and keep it alive for us.
I think Colony Place is one of our sponsors.
Colony Place is one of our sponsors. They're sponsoring the Park City Pride. They bring the family to all the exciting events there. There's 50 great shops and restaurants where the holiday magic happens. We thank them for their support.
The Park City Pride, of course, is another one of the Drum and Bugle Corps reunion. 14 major junior drum and bugle corps. So we're gonna listen, I think, as they march by. Well, the highest seller paper turkey. It sounds like the end of the parade with all this Christmas music.
I was going to say it's a little preview.
But there's explain the paper
coming.
turkey. A lot of people say, "What's that?"
The paper turkey. Well, one of our sponsors, the folks at the market in the Pine Hills, each year sell little pieces of paper with turkeys on them for people to help raise money for the parade and for the work it does. And I believe they are being followed by our American Legion post number 40. And they, joining with the VFW, the American Legion really helps this parade as well due to its specific theme this year of celebrating our Vietnam veterans. And not everybody may realize this is the 50th anniversary of Vietnam. So they really serve as a reminder for all of us. And they are the largest service organization for our American veterans. Their motto really is for God and country, and it fits very well with the theme of this parade and this celebration.
That's right, and they're followed by the National Guard 215th Army Band. And of course, this comes out of Fall River under Stephen W. Martins and distinguished many awards in training. And one of the things that all these units do, whether they are bands or whether they are corps or reenactment units, precision. And of course, that's what we have in our United States military. And that is such an honor to have them in our parade once again. It looks like it, yep.
Along with the American Legion, they helped lead our parade this year due to its theme of honoring Vietnam veterans. They are good neighbors to our parade and will again be serving hundreds of dinners to military participants. The spirit of giving is evident throughout the VFW post 1822. And here we have some old model antique cars again.
Again, tell me, Matt, when these become familiar.
Yeah, not yet.
I'll start to worry, Paul, the year that you tell me I should be remembering them. That's and they're being followed by another group, wonderful group of local community, Quincy College, not just located in Quincy, Mass., but also here in Plymouth for over 22 years. And they are bringing us the Turkey Dinner Time Float. This is always a little disturbing to me, I have to admit, Paul. We start with the wonderful turkey running free, and then suddenly we have a float following it on the plate. It's a little disturbing.
Yes, it may be, but at the same time, that's kind of what people...
That's how those wild turkeys went, Donna.
And but you know what better staple of Americana do you have than having these dinner plates with turkey on it? Just amazing.
And
I
here
think
are one of my favorites, Paul.
Oh, yes, they are. And I think there's a banner that we saw go by there quickly by some folks.
A few folks
town.
we know locally.
Yeah,
we have a wonderful legislative group of folks. We'd like to thank you, Matt, as well as Vinny, Tom O'Brien, Tom Coulter, and Sheriff McDonald. The work that all of you do on a regular basis really is incredible for all of us in our community. So thank you for your work, and thank you for your support of this event.
You know, look at these Clydesdale horses, named after the River Clyde up in Scotland. And you know they're bred as a docile horse of burden, can pull massive amount. They're massive in size. Just to be able to go and see them is just tremendous. And have them so local, right here, and be able to be in our parade is really amazing.
And the work that goes into preparing them for the parade is incredible. I had mentioned earlier that our news program, PCN, PACTV Community News, the Clydesdales is one of the groups they take a look at. So if you're interested in seeing more behind the scenes of the parade, visit pactv.org. You can take a look at that episode. Meanwhile, we also are flying.
I think it was
Parade.
I think we just started Division 3 with Park Plymouth. They're a great sponsor, great friend of the event. And I think we are coming up on the Holy Family Defenders, I believe.
Another drum and bugle corps?
Yeah, out of my boyhood hometown of Rockland.
Wow.
They're very local.
Let's give it up from the Rockland neighbors.
For our national audience, Rockland is only about 15 minutes from Plymouth, so it is a very local band for this event.
And this marks their 8th year being here, and sadly it's going to be their last appearance with the Defenders. They decided to hang up their uniforms for the last time, but let's send them away with a rousing bon voyage, and a big thank you for their wonderful years of entertainment, and thank you to the Defenders for coming here for 8 years.
Here, here.
Yes, very well done.
We'll take a quick listen to our friends. Thank you again to our friends from Rockland, the Holy Family Defenders. We'd like to thank them for being a part of the parade all of these years. And following them, we have one of our sponsors, Curry College, originally located, a liberal arts college originally located in Milton, Mass. They also have extended their services to Plymouth since 1994, and they're going to be sponsoring our next historic float.
In the historic float of the Hedge House, you see here a tremendous, again, float of detailed quality. Houses built by sea captains often became known as federal architecture, and that's because they would have these like fences or around the roofs, you know what I mean? Sometimes a widow's walk, and of course named because her husband had gone out to sea and may not come home. But this federal architecture is such beautiful architecture. And here we have right in our America's hometown and a well-preserved Hedge House.
Look at the detail.
Look at the detail on that float, just tremendous. And of course, a lot of the antiquarian society, women's suffrage, and other aspects of the society at the time in 1809. And of course, that looks just like the house that stands up there. On
it does. Yeah,
and the Antiquarian Society actually protects 3 homes or historic sites across our town.
And that's the Harlow House, the Spooner House, and of course, even Sacrifice Rock down there on Old Plymouth Road, and a Wampanoag site. So again, these tremendous floats, you don't see the driver, you just see them going right by. Now here's...
Okay, Paul, this
here
is
we
what
see
I
the
remember
driver.
now.
Now you remember this,
Bicycles.
okay, very good.
These are great productions of the era of 1890 to 1930, so that's what I remember.
Wow,
They
that's
come out of
good.
Duxbury. I want to thank Russ Shirley for bringing these bicycles to our parade.
Yeah, that's good. And of course, those bicycles, keep those in mind when the Wright brothers come by,
Yes, right.
because that's the kind of bicycle shop they had.
And now we have the U.S. Constitution Marine Guard, 1812.
Yeah.
They are headquartered at the U.S. Marine Barracks in Charlestown Navy Yard in Boston.
Yes, and of course that USS Constitution was a tremendous vessel called Old Ironsides that had a lot of feats of victory during the battles of 1812 and the Barbary Pirate Wars. And I think following them,
The National Guard Lancers, yes.
We're moving quickly.
Yes. Organized in 1836 to provide a mounted escort for the governor, as well as to enforce the law and to defend from invasion and insurrection. They now serve as a ceremonial unit in the Massachusetts National Guard. Their mission really is to provide a mounted color guard, escorts, and troops for ceremonies and parades across the Commonwealth, as well as other military and patriotic events.
Next is the USS Constitution Color Guard.
And now you have the color guard, I think, following this, Donna, as well.
And they are a welcome group who come back year after year to our parade. We really appreciate all of these groups that help to make the celebration what it is, and the time and effort they all put in.
And I think following them, we have Norwich University, almost at their 200th anniversary a year. And here, Norwich, of course, in Vermont, started by Captain Aldridge Partridge, U.S. Army, the oldest private military college in the country, recognized for its discipline, for its training, tremendous. And of course, I think following them is the New England Brigade.
This is New England Brigade. We welcome the 25th Massachusetts Infantry reenactors of the American Civil War. The New England Brigade is comprised of many different Civil War living history groups from all over the region. Their purpose is to assist those who wish to host reenactments and educational programs to commemorate the 150th anniversary of the American Civil War from 1861 to 1865.
Amazing, you see these reenactment units, and sometimes we've had units from the north and the south in the parade. And
That's
then
sometimes
kind
been
of,
problematic.
That's been a little problematic, because,
Especially in the Civil War, section of the parade.
It should alternate every year. We'll tell Ollie that.
The costuming is beautiful.
Oh, yes.
Present! On! Forward! March!
And again, the New England Brigade, we'd like to thank them for their participation. Look at that flag. Look how gorgeous it is as it goes down the street. And you can see the crowd still on
Look at the
Coles
period
Hill.
costumes that are being worn. That's tremendous.
And they are going to be followed by an amazing new float this year in celebrating America's national parks. This is the Yellowstone National Park's Old Faithful. And Old Faithful, actually, the national parks in America turn 100 next August. That's one of the reasons that the parade is celebrating so many of our national treasures this year. And this float depicts Old Faithful, so named in 1870, because it actually is one of the most predictable geographic features on Earth, erupting every 35 to 120 minutes and sometimes it lasts up to half an hour, which is amazing to me.
It is amazing. See that much pressure inside the earth coming out.
And I believe one of our sponsors is coming down the street now, the folks from
Yes.
99.9 The Q.
That's right, a 1955 Buick convertible, a sponsor of the next Drum and Bugle Corps that are coming in there. And of course, the Q is a radio station that plays all people's favorite contemporary music to keep your day rolling along. That is pretty simple to say that, rolling along here. And that car.
That must have been your first car, Paul.
It is.
I'm so
do
glad you're not
remember the
involving me in
1950s.
this conversation.
And Donna, yes, it's okay. But I think we have the Golden Knights Drum and Bugle Corps coming, and that marks their 25th year. We have a lot of silver
Huge
anniversaries here
celebrations.
with these Drum and Bugle Corps. Of course, 9 national titles, made a Corps Drum and Bugle legend. They're still wowing their crowds. Called the Golden Robots, but the Golden Knights Drum and Bugle Corps. Let's listen as they go by the reviewing
They wow
stand.
our audience.
Again, Model G cars, followed directly by the 54th Regiment.
Behind them is going to be the 54th Massachusetts Voluntary Infantry Regiment.
Actually, their mural was right across from the State House.
Exactly, and it's one of the first official black units in the United States Armed Forces. It's an early regiment of the Black Freedom, the 1st Rhode Island Regiment, has fought alongside George Washington in the Revolutionary War. The 54th Regiment was authorized in 1863 by the governor of Massachusetts, John Andrew.
And his statue's right in Doric Hall there.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's great.
And following the 54th Regiment, it's amazing to me that we are heading into Division 4 in our parade today, celebrating Thanksgiving. We are heading into the 1900s. And folks are still covering Coles Hill. So it's a
In the sunshine,
beautiful,
though,
beautiful
in the
day.
sunshine. And that's tremendous because you have all those people enjoying this as it's coming down. And of course, I think one of the banners that we've seen is Sullivan Tire, another one of our sponsors.
Who helped to bring us North Star, one of our new Drum and Bugle Corps, to the parade this year.
That's right. They're new and they let us wish the Chrome Wall much success on their return to the Drum Corps land. And of course, we look at this Drum Corps is a culture all its own. And there are people who follow their different corps around the country when they make presentations. So this is North Star. Let's listen to them as they come by the reviewing stand.
Directly followed by the banner for the Boston Sand and Gravel. They become a major sponsor to our
And
parade.
thank you again to the folks from North Star, a new addition to our parade with Drum and Bugle Corps.
Of course, I think this is Boston Sand and Gravel, one of our
Sand and
major
Gravel, yes,
sponsors that has had a banner there.
Followed by another one of our newest floats.
Tremendous float.
This is the Wright brothers.
Yep.
Yes, yeah. The flying machine depicting the plane navigated by the Wright brothers in 1903 is back in our parade for 12 years as we celebrate the centennial of our national parks, as we talked about. Wilbur was 33 and Oliver was 29. It's reenacted by 2 high school students. When they defied gravity, and at the time, it was not known as being the beginning of aviation in America. They were bicycle mechanics from Dayton, Ohio, who came to the wind-swept sands of North Carolina to experiment from 1900 to 1903. And here reenacts the William and Orville others floats today.
And they changed our world.
Phenomenally, and look at the detail on that float. And I think we're coming up to the second brook.
Yes.
This is one of your favorites.
Again, my beloved horses. This is the Second Brook Ranch from a local community, Middleborough, with Palominos on parade. The Palomino horse is known as a parade horse, and it's also recognized for being in the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade and the Pasadena Tournament of Roses. They're being followed by, we do have to say, a crowd favorite.
Say it.
The Pooper Scoopers.
The Pooper Scoopers, yes.
And I just
They
have to
get as
say,
many cheers as everybody else
most people
coming
know
down
Sam
the street.
Adams was the father of the American Revolution. He started as a Pooper Scooper, cleaning streets.
No.
You have to
That's
give him
true.
honor. That's
And
right.
we just saw also in 1941 Brewster Ambulance. Brewster Ambulance is a local company, and I believe we have the Pilgrim Squadron Civil Air Patrol going by now.
And of course, this is the auxiliary of the U.S. Air Force. And they have different wings all the way over the country. And of course, they deal with young people. And the Civil Air Patrol trains young people in discipline and education and other programs right here. And many people are unaware of all the things that they do. And they're part of Homeland Security.
And now we're seeing, this is a really fascinating part of the parade. I always find some authentic vehicles from different wars and different points in our history.
I think this is World War II half-track with machine guns. This 1944 M15A1 autocar half-track served in World War II and was then converted to M16A1 in 1952 for the Korean War. The half-track served the Massachusetts National Guard in the 26th Division, 126th Anti-Aircraft Artillery until the late 1970s. The machine guns are replicas and simulate fire. They are not real. And now this vehicle, driven by Tim Sanders, will give the simulating firing.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to fire right now because they're moving quickly beyond. But I think they're followed by the military command car.
Yes, yeah. This 1940 U.S. Army military command car is owned by Jim Thompson of South Shore Military. And then there's a Korean War Willie Jeep owned by Jim Sanderson, driven by Charlie Sanderson.
And then a deuce and a half, too.
Yeah,
Man, you know all these.
Look at this, deuce and a half. Yeah,
Is
1954.
this Rosie the Riveter?
Yes, I think so.
In the 1941 Ford Jeep. Now, Rosie really exemplified what happened in World War II with so many women coming forward, with all of our men being away, fighting the war, and really making sure that our country continued and that our families and our homes were safe. And Rosie, actually, she became famous because of a wire service photo, but her real name was Geraldine Hoff Doyle, and she was a World War II factory worker. We'd like to thank Gretchen Tucker for reenacting her today as she comes down our street in that 1941 Ford Jeep. Would that be correct?
Yeah, this is pretty amazing. No, following this is a little bit of a somber part of our parade because we have a banner honoring Jeffrey Mathias, who was 42 years of age from Kingston, a graduate of Mass Maritime Academy who was on that ship, El Faro, had that tremendous accident. And we're honoring his memory here in the parade. And we're doing that, of course, right in front of the Mass Maritime 7th Company Band and Color Guard. And, you know, it's amazing when you see these kind of tragedies at sea and right in our local community, it's so important to keep the memory alive, keep the legacy alive. And to see how serious Mass Maritime has taken this, and they came out in full force in the parade to honor.
And to honor the people and to honor everything that they do all of the time, and to honor the people who we've lost.
Exactly. And of course, their regimental band, the pride of the regimental cadets, honor guard and drill team, highly involved in the surrounding community. Of course, Mass Maritime right down there in Buzzards Bay, Massachusetts.
We're looking for more housing since the number of floaters have been increased. So if you've got space, we'd love to have...
Yeah, El Knife and Sons, they're tremendous one of our sponsors.
And they also house a lot of these floats, too.
That's right.
And there are so many floats out there now, they can't even house them all, so they're looking for different places to...
Look at that one that just went by the Finest Hour.
Their
That's
Finest
that Pendleton
Hour.
Rescue Coast Guard rescue mission, which was just tremendous. And of course, that's 4 individuals. Look at that float. 4 individuals who went out, right, at sea.
Right.
Incredible.
And that's, I think, followed, Donna, by the U.S. Coast Guard.
Yes, it is. And the U.S. Coast Guard, I don't know if you realize, it's comprised of almost 42,000 men and women. And the Coast Guard really is a unique branch of the military. It's responsible for saving lives, protecting the environment, and really defending our coastways and waterways. And when you think about how much of that there is, it's incredible the work that they do for us.
They're followed by the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, and a uniformed all-volunteer component, started in 1939, and has grown to over 32,000. This is a tremendous, again, these auxiliaries helping the Coast Guard guard our coast and, of course, conduct rescue. And I think there'll be a rescue this afternoon.
Typically, traditionally, right after the parade on the Plymouth waterfront, they do perform a simulated rescue for our audiences to see.
This is the equestrian element.
I think it
Riding
is.
School.
Yes.
One of your favorites, Donna. They're located at Mare Willow Farm on Beaver Dam Road, right here in Plymouth.
And we're having a flyover at the moment from
And it
the
looks
U.S.
like,
Coast Guard.
yes, it looks like they're preparing for their rescue right after the parade, which tells us that we are, believe it or not, nearing
Yes, we are.
the end of our parade. And we are being followed by, traditionally, a local business party light does bring us our own version of the Macy's Day Parade with huge balloons, and we see them preparing
Of course, that flag,
right now.
they're carrying a flag down the street.
Yes, and this year, the folks from Party Light are carrying an American flag down the street for all of us. And we'd like to thank them again for all of the work that they do. This particular flag is an exact replica of the flag raised at Fort McHenry. Again, going back to our theme of America the Beautiful.
That's right. And tremendous. People are just amazed at the size of that flag. Put together by a widow and a few of her seamstresses. They put it over several weeks. In fact, they commissioned it so late, she just worked nonstop, almost 24/7.
That's incredible.
To get it done.
And here we have a little contemporary celebration.
In New England, we have a lot of these rolling parades, don't we? And here we have the New England Patriots, of course, their float. They were first inaugurated in 1960, the Patriots were. And not until '85 that it actually made it to the Super Bowl. Of course, the first time they lost. But we haven't lost all the time.
But since then, we're doing okay.
We are doing okay, and the confetti comes out. And of course, this is celebrating last year's Super Bowl win. And of course, they even have the end zone militia.
They do.
And they've got some of their cheerleaders who came along to cheer their way down Main Street for all of us. And we are so lucky to have some not only wonderful sports teams, but it's such a sports community.
The end
They
zone
provide
militia
so much for
started
us.
in 1996, actually.
Yeah.
I've had season tickets to the Patriots since 1985, so I've been seeing them all.
So you see them, and they've been scoring a lot of touchdowns too. So.
Are you willing to share those?
Well, for a price. If he did, it would be Donna. You and I would definitely get.
I think we would be his first and second choice, don't you?
Yes.
And as we move forward, we are, believe it or not, heading into our 5th division, celebrating the 21st century.
Yes, and I think we've looked at this. We have some reenactment units that are coming by, but one of the things that starts off Division 5 is this massive float built on a bus chassis. It's America's Hometown Express, sponsored by Marty's GMC. This massive train is actually coming down the street, and it's collecting food, isn't it?
Yes, and America's Hometown, Thanksgiving, as we said, so much of the celebration is community, so much is giving back, volunteerism, and this gives everybody who is on our streets an opportunity to give to their neighbors. They're collecting food for the local food shelters for the entire southeastern section of Massachusetts.
Each year in the parade, more than 2 tons of food, hundreds and hundreds of meals.
It's on the antique cars.
Yep,
and look at all the people surrounding the train. What happens is the train chugs down the street. Volunteers are walking along, collecting all of the donations that people have brought, and all of these donations will be going to the Greater Plymouth Food Warehouse to be distributed to food pantries in the area to be able to reach families in need.
The thing is, in Thanksgiving, you think about the meaning of Thanksgiving. We're giving thanks, but what better thing to do to appreciate what you have than giving? And that's tremendous. And oh boy, this is another one, the Northeast Peso Fino.
You're about to meet one of the most exciting breeds in North America today. Over 500 years ago, on Columbus' second voyage to the New World,
he brought with him a select group of Paso Fino mares and stallions. American soldiers discovered the Paso Fino in Puerto Rico and began importing them to the United States in the late 1940s. The Paso Fino is the oldest true native breed of the Western Hemisphere. The unit is our parade is the unit in our parade is from the Northeast Paso Fino Horse Association. Why do I get all these phrases?
I was going to say, you've had the tongue twisters today, Matt.
But this is one of Donna's
This is a
favorite
rookie
again,
thing, isn't
so-
it?
Yeah, it is.
It's amazing.
And I think
You've been
we,
initiated.
Following here, the Paso Fino is a tremendous. The gait of the horse, you have to look at that and
the
see how
control
fast. Oh
is
yes,
amazing.
And I think that as you look at this, right behind them, of course, is the Ice Sports, FMC Ice Sports.
Yes, another one of our sponsors who we'd like to thank so much, and they are partially responsible for bringing us. We're taking our step. The very end of our parade, we start to look from Thanksgiving towards Christmas, towards our next celebrations. And we do, of course, because it is America's hometown Thanksgiving parade, we do it in a historic manner.
We do.
So we'd like to thank the folks and these fabulous little guys who are walking down the street for bringing us this amazing group of Victorian carolers who are also walking along with the Victorian Church.
Yes, and you can see that they are portraying the time when the late 1800s, when people would gather around outside their church as a community and then simply sing Christmas carols together. Again, bringing the community together.
Absolutely.
And they're singing the authentic Christmas carol sung in the late 1800s, and then with that Victorian church coming right behind them.
Until 1870. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Victorian Carolers.
So the Victorian carolers are going to be leading us to the Victorian church. And this church actually depicts a church from the 1800s. So again,
That's right.
in reference to the carolers, we're celebrating as Christmas would have been celebrated in the 1800s. And, you know, it did not become a national holiday in the United States until 1870.
That's right. And a lot of people are unaware of that. And that's why it is a late 1800s, early 1900s type. But we need to put it at the end of the parade anyway, because everybody knows what's coming at the end. And so that's good. But I think there's some antique cars following it, Matt.
Some more antique cars.
And they should be anyway.
And we don't want to assume everybody knows what comes at the end of this parade, because we may have
That's
some
true.
new viewers out there who are
That's
enjoying
true.
America's hometown Thanksgiving for the first time. This might be her first visit to
I think she
Plymouth
even knows
waterfront
what's
as
coming.
well.
Everyone
You
knows
see the
what's coming.
smile? Our folks, our friends from the Coast Guard are preparing for, after the parade ends, to be able to have their demonstration on the waterfront. Again, as we're waiting for our final float to come down the street, I'd like to thank both of you for participating in our coverage today.
Oh,
It
it's been
always
fun.
is an honor to work with you, Paul, and Matt, it's just been incredible having you here with us this
It's been
year.
a thrill to be here.
great.
It really has.
Excellent.
I've learned a lot, too. Learned a lot from you, Paul.
Well, I think
And
we have Matt, too, with Rockland Trust as one of our
Rockland
sponsors.
Trust, yeah. They're one of the principal sponsors.
They are.
And they supply all of our parade banners as well.
That's right. And they not only supply the carriers for the parade
carriers,
banners,
yep.
but they are always been a tremendous support of everything that we're doing. And of course, they're also sponsoring, I think, the Connecticut alumni. And who are going to be, it's kind of interesting the way the Connecticut alumni are going to do this. So they have a very special surprise of how they're going to usher in this final.
Our final favorite friend.
But one of the sponsors of this is Setting the Space. Setting the Space, a leading-edge design company specializing right here in Plymouth.
Yes.
In interior design and staging, 10,000 square foot warehouse. They sponsor this float. And so we have the Connecticut alumni watch what they're going to do here on the waterfront. At least this is what I've been told.
So let's go take a listen.
Let's hear.
Next band is the Connecticut Alumni. The Connecticut Alumni is welcoming St. Nicholas. His float is Santa and his reindeer and sleigh on the roof of a home after dropping his gifts down the chimney. It's very familiar to almost every boy and girl. This image became a tradition after the Reverend Clement Moore wrote his famous poem in the 1822 called A Visit from St. Nicholas. 'Twas the night before Christmas.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome St. Nicholas.
Look who's coming down the street here. This is St. Nicholas, the
surprise.
authentic. And of course, St. Nicholas was an actual individual who lived, but then after this, in the early 1800s, Washington Irving really embellished it. And now children can't wait.
Can't wait to see Santa coming down the street. Can't wait to see Santa coming down the chimney. And as we see, he is flying with our friends, the reindeer, heading off to everybody's home across the country and around the world.
Paul, I bet you can name all of them.
Of course I can.
Well, you know, look
And
at the
I have all
confetti
the
that they have.
movies.
Yeah, look at the confetti
That's
that's
the sign
coming
of the
out.
parade. You see the confetti.
Yeah, you see the confetti toward the end, and you know, it's amazing that even the history at this time was always giving. You know, there's this emphasis on giving and not just receiving, and that's what Thanksgiving's all about. And what a home atmosphere! What a gorgeous day!
It really is.
And what a
perfect.
phenomenal way to end this parade. With this happening, with the blue sky, with the flag, and whatnot,
And
just
we need to
tremendous.
thank the parade committee. I know you're
Yes.
part of this parade committee. I was impressed. I went to the committee meeting the other night. What a production. There's 35, 40 people in a room, and everyone knows what their roles are, and they do it year after year after year on a volunteer basis. So thank you, Paul, Ollie, and the whole team for putting this on.
Yeah, it's an honor to be able to work with everyone. It's an honor to work with you guys here at PACTV. We're
Thank
just
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
very, very blessed by the way every year that you've been able to do this and really put so much effort into it. It's really great.
And I think it's a good example of, again, because we're a volunteer-based organization, we have a total of 19 crew between being here at the studio and down on the waterfront. And a good number of the folks who are here with us are volunteers. So we
need to thank them because we wouldn't
That's
be able
right.
to see this without
We
them.
wouldn't be able to see it.
And it's also wonderful to be able to provide such local coverage. Without our local community television studios,
That's
we
right.
wouldn't be able to do something like this. So it's an honor to work as partners with you to be able to provide this for everybody. So for folks who are watching at home, if you want to see more, visit PACTV.org, visit USAThanksgiving.com. You can find out when the replays are. You can get all of the information behind the scenes. Take a look at our PACTV Community News special that really celebrates what it takes to make this parade happen and celebrates the people that you have just watched walk down the street. Gentlemen, do you have any final words for our audience?
Well, for me, it's been a thrill to be here, as I said, to watch this parade from this vantage point. I've always been down the viewing stand with the Rotary, so it's really great to see the whole thing happen here, and what a production has been.
You know, as people watch this across the nation and even locally, I think as we come to Thanksgiving, it's good to remind ourselves what it is. It's giving thanks to God for our blessings, but also thanking your neighbors for things that they do and pulling together as a community. Boy, we need that in America. Come together in unity and be able to get things done. So it's been tremendous, just as we've demonstrated in how are we doing this. I think have a great Thanksgiving and you know, go around the table and see what you're thankful for.
Absolutely.
Before you do that. And read some of William Bradford.
Of course.
On the originals.
Of course.
And get the history.
Because our history is what leads
It
us
is
to where
very
we are
good.
today.
That's right.
We'd like to thank all of you for watching. Thank you so much for joining us. We'd like to wish you and your family members a happy and safe Thanksgiving and holiday. Thank you.